It's absolutely freezing. It takes absolutely ages for the house to warm up.
The coldest night of the winter so far in most of the UK. We find out how people are trying to stay warm. Last night was the coldest night of the winter so far for most of the UK, with temperatures falling to below -13 Celsius in some parts of Scotland. The freezing temperatures have triggered cold weather payments in 200 postcodes in England and Wales. Our cost of living correspondent Coletta Smith has been finding out how people are trying to keep warm.
As the temperatures have dropped, everyone's focus has crystallised on how to stay warm.
It's Carol, all the way from snowy John Savin. I have 4 inches of snow on top of my bin. The dog has decided she wants to sleep in the bed because it's that chilly.
She's got multiple layers on because it is absolutely freezing. It takes absolutely ages for the house to warm up and it's massively expensive.
Most of the house is pretty cold, but the sitting room, we've got the log burner on, so it's not too bad.
We've also got a 2-year-old, so we've had to put a heater in his room to make sure he doesn't get too cold overnight.
There you go. Heath Robinson would be proud. 2 wood-burning stove fans on top of the open hob.
In Manchester, this warm hub is even more important than usual, giving out food parcels, a cuppa and the chance to chat in the warmth.
It's been a lifeline to come here on a Thursday, to get...
Walter's 93 and has struggled to heat his home.
It's got to be, you've got to have it on to keep warm. But I try and keep it off as much as I can because I can't afford to.
Around 80 people arrive here every week, with demand growing in the cold.
Everybody's struggling. People who are in work, people who have got their own business are struggling with heating. So if you can imagine being on a very low income and benefits, to have somewhere where you can come, be warm, have a chat with somebody and share your problems and your thoughts, it's a no-brainer.
£25 cold weather payments will be made in hundreds of postcodes across northern England and Wales, and in Scotland payments should arrive in February. But campaigners say there should be cheaper energy for those who need it most.
So the government could be doing so much more, but so far it's refused any attempts to extend the help. And in fact, only last week it actually ruled out any form of tariff reform to bring in protections for those vulnerable groups.
If you're struggling to keep warm, try, if you can, and keep one room at least 18 degrees. Just turn the radiators off in the rest of the house to save on those energy costs. And it's often cheaper and safer this time of year during a very cold snap like this to keep the heat on for longer at a lower temperature rather than cranking it up to higher temperatures quickly. But at least this cold spell shouldn't last beyond Saturday. Coletta Smith, BBC News in Manchester.
Last night was the coldest of the winter for many parts of the UK, with temperatures dropping to -13 degrees Celsius in parts of Scotland. But the icy conditions have delighted whale watchers off Shetland, with a rare sighting of a beluga whale in the icy waters, as John Johnston reports.
With Shetland shivering in freezing conditions, perhaps it was no surprise that a visitor well used to Arctic temperatures would choose to venture into nearby waters. This lone beluga whale was spotted off the coast of Hillswick, to the delight of seasoned local whale watchers.
We arrived to a beautiful big bay, but in absolutely freezing Arctic conditions, and we were there for maybe 5 minutes looking out on what was really dark water, and suddenly this incredible ivory coloured whale surfaced in front of us. It was just the most magical moment.
Elsewhere in the Arctic, belugas are gathering in their thousands.
It's not unusual to see other whales off the coast of Shetland, but the beluga is more often found around the Arctic Circle, as it was here in David Attenborough's Blue Planet. This latest confirmed sighting was just the 6th in Scottish waters.
The earliest sighting was back in 1976. So you're looking at 6 sightings over the course of many years. So this is an extra special treat for anybody who is a whale and dolphin or just a wildlife enthusiast.
The beluga whale is still in the waters around Shetland, and with temperatures set to remain very cold until the weekend, it's likely to feel at home for some days to come. John Johnston, BBC News, Lerwick Harbour.
Something else very special for you now. It's very cold here in Northern Ireland as well, but the freezing temperatures don't stop the people who are rebuilding parts of an historic dry stone wall across the Mourne Mountains. I drove down there this morning, it's almost 40 miles from here, to meet the stonemasons who are following in their grandfather's footsteps. In sub-zero temperatures and a biting wind, it is a long hike just to reach the part of the wall the stonemasons are working on. It can be treacherous up here. The weather changes in an instant.
We've walked for about half an hour and there they are finally repairing this part of the Mourne wall. What a commute!
Up here are Andrew and Brian Rooney, fifth generation stonemasons. These mountains run through their blood.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I cannot believe you do this every single day.
It's an iconic wall and our grandfather worked on it, and that makes it, you know, so special for us to be back on it now 100 years later, knowing that they relations worked on this wall, like, and yeah, it's a privilege to be working on it.
The Mourne Wall crosses 15 mountains. It's 22 miles long. Every bit of it was built by hand. It was constructed to keep cattle off the land so they didn't contaminate the reservoir below. As you can see from here, when you look inside there, you can see what a balancing act the whole thing is, isn't it?
Yep, yep. And as you can see, the two skins, and then you have your through stone that ties these two skins together.
They've repaired around 900 sections of this wall since they started back in 2017, all of it using the same techniques as their grandfather. Now their work here is nearly done.
What is it you love about doing this job?
I love everything about it. I like the where it's at. Like we always say, our office couldn't beat it. You know, it's just beautiful up here, all weathers. And even the day is a gorgeous day in the summertime. You've got the heat and the scenery and just everything about it. And especially getting the wall back to its original state and knowing it's going to be there hopefully for another 100 years.
It really is the most spectacular place to work. Very cold there.